Among New Orleans' many unique attractions as a popular world-class destination with 300 years of diverse history, cultures, and customs are its cemeteries, often referred to as cities of the dead because of their unique architectural elements. Their recorded history dates back to a Spanish royal decree in 1789, enabling the removal of the French Quarter's last remaining cemetery to a new location outside its boundary.
As the city's population expanded, the governing body realized we need that square for residences. There was also continual fear of yellow fever.
Visitors to New Orleans can always pay to see its oldest cemetery, namely StLouis No. 1, with daily tours available through an exclusive private tour operator in partnership with the Archdiocese. Most of its other Catholic cemeteries are open daily to visitors. Several of the city's more historic public burial sites, such as Lafayette No. 2 and Carrollton Cemetery, also attract tourists along with local visitors.
Mortuary art is a world unto itself that can be studied. The stories of all of the public health crises that we've had prior to COVID-19 can all be told using this wonderful physical site that we have in our midst.
Meanwhile, New Orleans' second oldest cemetery by just 34 years, StLouis No. 2, remains closed to any public visitors 200 years after being consecrated into service in 1823, and despite also being on the National Register of Historic Places and the Louisiana African American Heritage Trail for its very special place in New Orleans history.
This is the largest concentration of memorials to Black achievement in one geographically defined area in the United States.
Thanks to unfettered access granted to our cameras at StLouis Cemetery No. 2, we offer these glimpses inside its shuttered gates as an homage to its bicentennial, 200 years of buried Black history and history makers.
Here lies Marie Couvent, born enslaved in West Africa, held captive, put on a ship, and sent to Saint-Domingue. Eventually, she ends up after the revolution in Louisiana, okay? She becomes quite entrepreneurial and along with her husband accumulates a great deal of wealth. Before her death, she writes a will and she stipulates that any money that's left, which was considerable, would go to the establishment of the Catholic home for indigent colored orphans. That's exactly what happened.
Characteristic of New Orleans' municipal and parochial cemeteries scattered across the landscape are those above-ground tombs reflecting distinctive and diverse architectural styles and funeral customs.
New Orleans, South Louisiana did not invent above-ground tombs. They existed in Europe before they were built here, but they sort of became a trademark here because once that style was established, people just realized it didn't make sense to dig graves anymore.
In this tomb, we have my first, second, and third great-grandmother, and my third and fifth great-grandfathers.
There's a receiving vault. When you open the vault and you push and the bones drop down to the back. That's how you accumulate.
Besides those rows of remarkable family tombs giving credence to that description, cities of the dead, another fascinating attraction are the once majestic and historically significant society tombs dotting the landscape almost like skyscrapers.
For individuals who did not have their own family burial site, they were buried together in a society tomb.
The reason that many people joined these benevolent type societies was that they wanted burial insurance, they wanted health insurance. If anything would happen to them, the society would give money to the widow and the family, and the society would bury this person.
Despite the deteriorating conditions inside, StLouis Cemetery No. 2 remains an active cemetery where burials still take place. Some families still maintain their own ancestral tombs and traditions there, like visiting them and touching them up for All Saints' Day.
Everybody would be out there painting the tombs, freshening them up, put fresh flowers for All Saints, All Souls Day. And it was a nice social occasion.
Sadly, a great many family tombs at this historic site have no more descendants to reclaim ownership or to restore them, as some have elected to do. The needs are tremendous, but an abandoned tomb initiative is helping to restore some of those abandoned structures. So this is the end of phase one of any tomb restoration project. The plaster has already been knocked away. The pressure washer has blasted away all the detritus and the stuff remaining between the bricks. Next phase, bricks have to be repaired, mortar reinserted, and finally a fresh coat of limestone plaster to restore this to its original 19th century glory. Cemetery deterioration and neglect are nothing new. Celebrated New Orleans author and historian Grace King penned these lines over a century ago to voice her own concerns about the original St. Louis Cemetery No. 1 gates being closed except to family members back in 1895.
The crumbling bricks of the first resting places built there are still to be seen, draped over with a wild growth of vine. It opens its gates only at the knock of an heir.
Unless others come to their aid from the ravages of time and neglect, the crumbling bricks at these beautiful historic resting places inside St. Louis Cemetery No. 2 will continue to crumble. Victims of time, victims of the elements, and victims of neglect.
It's up to me as a descendant to restore the tomb so that the integrity of the tomb will last for years to come.
Hopefully, the souls and the history buried at St. Louis Cemetery No. 2 will someday enjoy their recognition and respect. Another hope is that visitors to New Orleans will likewise get a chance, once again, to honor their historic achievements as they marvel at those final resting places.
It doesn't matter whether we have individual family tombs in St. Louis Cemetery or not. That heritage belongs to all of us.